All right, it looks like we are getting straight into this match here. And it looks like that the Hyena's sitting at 0 right here, and the Paladin is already tackled. We had a little bit of a DC issue, so there wasn't enough time to really introduce the team. Super sorry about that. We
Yeah, I was
have
muted too. Whoops.
yeah. Also, Wingnut was muted. We're really good at our jobs, I swear. The Paladin of Abandoned Part is taking massive damage. Those are 3 rapid heavy missile launcher rattlesnakes. So we're seeing some of the highest DPS ships that you can ever field in any situation, just blasting straight into this Paladin right now.
Yeah, I don't think the Paladin's gonna last, man. Like he's got a swarm of rep drones. He's got the Thalias like repping their heart out, but it's not gonna work. They're gonna kill DPS fast. Looks like they're gonna try and go for a Caracal. I actually quite like that call. They're not very tanky. It's a lot of DPS and they're really well. I was gonna say crappy, but they're actually quite good.
They are quite good. However, the Praetors from the Rattlesnakes actually just hit the Paladin too, so he was dropping without the heavy drones of the Paladins on him. Now that they're on him, I don't think there's any chance of that thing surviving. He's holding really tight to his bleeding structure.
You gotta overheat everything, boys. Come on, it's not gonna work. He's gone. It's gotta be.
He's gone. The Caracal is probably going to drop at the same time. The Hyena of Lazerhawks is tackled down as well, so there is going to be a chance that they can clear some of those very important ships and get those Paladins the ability to do some damage.
If the Hyena goes down, that's going to be a lot of application removed on this field. They've got a Vedmak, they've got a Hugin, they've got Vengeances, Vex. They've got a lot of ships that could probably start sig tanking those missiles a little bit. So yeah, Hyena goes. That could be a big change right there.
I would also expect that all 3 of those rattlesnakes are probably hitting reload. That obviously most of their damage is from drones, depending on how they're fit. There's a lot of different little things you can tweak with them, but it is going to cut the amount of outgoing DPS by half. You do see a massive attack bar on the Lazerhawk side, which the size of the gray bar is basically their potential damage. The red is how much they're actually applying. There's so little damage actually going out from them compared to what they could be doing right now.
They probably had a few missiles left, but they decided to go to wait for the reload, get it ready to go, and then just delete this Paladin. They're going to remove it, I guarantee. You can see he's hard tackled. He's not going anywhere.
They're going to try. However, one of their scalpels from Lazerhawks is hard tackled down right now, so there is a chance that he might go down. They have full ECM drones. I see 2 full flights of ECM drones on that scalpel as well. So there's a lot of not repping that's going to be happening here. Ran Ritsudo in the Caracal is also hard tackled, and it looks like he's taken some damage. Paladins do quite a lot of damage if they can apply.
I'm not liking that they've got ships tackled all across the Lazerhawks team, but honestly, they don't really have the damage to do much with it. They got to kill either the Scalpel or Caracal and do it now. I'd go the Caracal because you need to kill DPS because your last real DPS boat is currently getting dumpstered. And here's comes the damage.
Yeah, and even if they kill the Caracal, it's only probably about 300 to 400 DPS, but it is going down relatively fast. But it's always a bad thing when your T2 battleship is dropping faster than their T1 cruiser. And the T2, the Paladin is eating tons of damage. It's getting hit by both Berserkers and Praetors, probably to make sure that it can't have any reactive armor hardening. And it is now starting to bleed structure, and quite quickly, actually.
Oh, that's hard to watch, man. I was curious how these Paladins would have done here, because obviously they're EM Therm into shield ships. I was thinking that could be pretty good, but no, there's just so much front-loaded damage. You just can't tank it.
And they did trade a Paladin. Yeah, maybe for the Caracal. There's the EOS damage is still decent, and those Vengeances are rocket fit, so they do like 100 DPS a bit. That's enough. And Vedmak's quite strong, but again, you traded 2 Marauders for 2 Caracals and a Hyena. Not the best trade ever.
Kind of like doing mental math in my head. If they deleted everything but the Rattlesnakes, could they be in the lead? I maybe, but they're going to lose a Vedmak, I think.
Yeah, the Rattlesnakes are 23 points apiece, and that Vedmak, it's a very high DPS ship for a cruiser. It might actually be able to go fast enough to outrun those heavy drones. We do only allow Tech 1 heavy drones in this format, and Tech 1 heavy drones are actually pretty slow. Rattlesnakes don't have a drone speed buff, so if he kites really well, he might be able to stay away from them.
Interesting, a Vexor going in, trying to tackle down one of the Rattlesnakes. Now, once again, the Vexor has no guns, so maybe he's got newts on it, or he's just a full tank fit. So that's a ballsy move going in there. He is actually holding that Rattlesnake down quite well.
He's doing a good job. I'm trying to see, a lot of the Rattlesnake drones are just kind of floating around, not actually attacking anything right now. So I think they're trying. I think there's a little bit of indecision on Lazerhawks. Maybe they're like, well, we've pretty much won this. Whatever, let's just hang out.
Yeah.
But
what I suspect is happening is what they did with the Paladins. They fired everything, killed a Paladin, then they essentially just stopped, reloaded, picked a target, and went again. So I think they're kind of like deciding which target we're going to kill once we have reloaded.
Yeah,
Honestly,
that's
that's pretty good.
probably likely. They are splitting damage. They got a couple heavy drones on that Thalia, which will probably go down. Heavy drones versus a Thalia, I'm sure they'll take it out. They're going to get it, but you're noticing that it is not dropping at the speed that some of our other logistics frigates have been dropping today. So it's doing a pretty good job sig tanking. It is still going to drop because, 3 sets of Rattlesnake heavy drones are going to crush it. So, and there it goes.
Oh yeah, even glancing hits are more than enough just to ruin that ship's day. And yeah, Thalia's gone. It might have been the last holdout they really had for a band apart. Now none of their ships will tank.
A band apart is actually dropping Zurach in the scalpel quite quickly, so he goes down really fast, which is interesting. You'd think there's not that much DPS left on field, but that Vedmak tracking is so good. However, the Vedmak is going to drop as well. You're not going to be able to keep it up versus that many rattlesnakes, and we're going to see most of the DPS from a band apart traded for these two scalpels here. Normally, I'd say that would give a band apart a really solid chance and the ability to kind of race through. And it's like, okay, well, we'll do a Logi trade. Lazerhawks' scalpels are down, band aparts, things are down. The problem is, and we saw this a lot over the last couple months just doing our open practices, that rattlesnakes are absurdly tanky just by themselves.
Oh yeah, and their drone bays are big enough too that if they really decided to, for some absurd reason, they could actually put rep drones in there. They don't need to. They've got enough tank as it is, but the option of being able to do it, you just can't kill rattles here. It's not going to happen.
No, and they just took out the Hugin, and now it looks like they're going for the EOS. It's kind of cool. Rattlesnakes is one of those ships that they've always had sort of a checkered history, I feel like, in different tournaments. But the way things are now, I think we've talked about the overall resistance nerf and the DPS buff sort of lets. I think that they might be a little bit stronger in this specific format. Yeah, because they have so much damage.
Yeah, it used to be SNI was super tank, Rattlesnake was the damage, and now since the resist nerf, SNI isn't quite as good. It's still a god tier shit, but now you can bring a Rattlesnake and do the same job but with more DPS. So why not?
Yeah, and something interesting too, if especially if you've never watched these before, the way that the bars work below each team. So the defense bar, the blue is basically the potential like HP resist combination, which you notice it's completely massive. That's just from those 3 rattlesnakes alone. But that purple part of it, that is the active reps that are going on. So what we're seeing right here, like active reps in region, is that these rattlesnakes are also repping themselves for an absurd amount, and there are no rep drones going on with it. They're just not taking any damage.
Yeah, they could be XLASB plus regular boost if it could just be a regular boost. It could be double XLASB if they were crazy enough. Like they can be so tanky if they want to be.
I mean, honestly, you could probably passive fit it at this point. It wouldn't have any trouble. I brought my ratting rattlesnake guys. They scale really well, so.
Well, there's now 2 Vengeances versus the world. I think as much as they would like to get Vengeance, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, they might get a shot here, but I'm not seeing it. That rattlesnake's not dropping at all. At this point, Amanda Part tried really hard. I did like their target calling was insane. I love that they went after all of the small stuff because the rattlesnakes are incredibly tanky. Their paladins just died so fast, and we're kind of seeing some of these anti-battleship teams just destroy people.
Oh yeah, like having big battleships is always useful to have, lots of DPS, but it also means you are quite easy to headshot if someone else has more DPS than you.
And especially since you can't use Bastion modules on the Marauders, which kind of is the thing that makes them super good nowadays, it's an interesting pick. They do have so many utility slots. They have a lot of self-rep, but at the end of the day, you're not going to live through 3 rattlesnakes, which we saw, especially not with Thalias. Maybe if they had an Oneros, they could have done it, but then you have the other thing where you have so many less points. So the last Vengeance does go down here. We have 100 to 25 because those rattlesnakes take up so many points, and that will be a Lazerhawks victory. Pretty clean. They lost a little bit of stuff, and we're going to go back to the desk.